Yeah.
Yeah, now we can see.
Cool.
Hey, there is something called nice headline.
Yeah. No, Fatima had told me that this will be a good one to discuss.
Yeah,
So,
I think this will be really relevant as well. Apart from everybody's personal questions which they will ask about their own self, this is like something that is that's going to cater to everybody.
I think 2-3 more minutes and then we can start.
sure.
It's nice if some people are off today, but other people have still have work, so most of them might watch us on the recorded version. So
Yeah.
we'll ask you.
Sure. But yeah, it's Eid today, and in Hyderabad, it's a big thing. We have the streets here are deserted. There's no one on the roads.
Oh, where are you based?
I'm in Hyderabad.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were in Pune.
No, I'm in Hyderabad. Like my office is in Pune. I mean, office in Hyderabad and Pune, but right now I'm in Hyderabad.
Okay, I did not know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Hyderabad only. So, yeah. So the days like Eid and all, it's very different. The entire city looks so different. It's very nice.
So is it like, is it right now?
No, not now. We start seeing people after like noon, after past noon in the evenings is when we actually start to see people. So, yeah, but now it was very empty. Yes. I don't know how it's over there.
Here it's quite chaotic because there are a lot of Muslims around this Kondwa area, Kondwa and Upper Kondwa, so it's going to be quite chaotic in the evening.
In the evening, right? But right now, I think it's all.
Right now, I don't know. I don't live around that place, but I think it's a little quiet right now, maybe. But it's definitely going to pick up towards the evening.
Yeah.
I think we should start. Should we start?
Yeah,
Start or
I
should
think
we
we can
wait?
start.
Yeah.
No, we can start. It's fine.
Okay, so Trina, tell us a little about yourself and then we can start.
Sure. I did make a slide about that. My name is Trina Roy. I'm a nutrition and fitness consultant. Oops, that's right. But yeah, I've done my sports nutrition and I've also done my other certification from the collective. But I was an engineer and now I'm turned into a fitness coach, fitness entrepreneur. I have my offices in Hyderabad, Pune, Mumbai, Bangalore, and also do everything online. And right now, helping a lot of coaches to up their game in like the new personal trainers who are always in the offline mode to take it online and see how they can turn their business online because this industry is the worst hit when it comes to a situation like this because the gyms have been closed. So, because I was more in the online space for over 5 years now, I feel I can share much more insights on how the online field works for personal trainers and coaches who are always in the offline mode and the offline zone. So that is all I'm doing currently. But today we will be discussing on how we did so far. I think all of us who are here, we all did awesome because we are all here, and that's in itself a big achievement that we all try to stay safe, manage to stay healthy, and stay out of whatever is happening in the world. So we all did awesome, and we all did awesome. So what next is how can we keep and what can we do so that us but people around us also are aware of what can be done to handle situations like this, and how we can overall presence in spreading fitness as the main goal. Right now, we are all in survival mode, and the only people who are going to survive are who are going to take care of their health and fitness. That's like the norm right now. And because everyone is in survival mode, I think it is all of our responsibilities to share how much ever we know, because everything is new. So the world did not see this before, neither did we, nor there is enough research on this topic done yet. So whatever is the good things that we can do, how much ever we know, once we start sharing, I think that's how the entire world gets to know about where we want to be and how we want to do. Okay, so let's see. The maintenance guidelines, this is going to help through the journey. And when it comes to fitness goals, this is the main thing that I think we all should work on, is not trying to go too crazy about, going on a very big calorie surplus, like going on a bulk phase right now, neither going huge calorie deficit right now, because right now I think the major thing that all of us need to do is try to maintain whatever we have, wherever we stand right now, and not make it worse. Like not become, oh, you're sitting at home and not doing anything, yet not trying to do something too crazy because we have all the time in the world, because that is the first thing that affects our immunity. Right? When you go on a crash diet, when you go on something that is too low calories, when you eat something that is not up to the nutrition requirements of the body, then your body's immune capacity, the body's capacity to fight whatever is happening, gets lesser. So there is no point trying to lose a bunch of weight right now. Even if it is happening in a gradual way, that's a different thing. But trying to go crash and trying to deprive yourself of the major nutrients and the major things that are in the, major food groups is not the right decision, is what I would recommend right now. Anything that would be more about maintenance, anything that is more coming from a point of just trying to survive, like I said before, preserving our muscles as much as possible, training enough, eating enough proteins, and, just trying to keep up with whatever we have achieved is going to help us get to a better state. Okay. Am I too fast or is it okay?
It's fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Foods to help you with the COVID pandemic. First is we have to take vitamin D supplemented. So we might think that we get enough sun, we might think that there is enough, but at this time, 80% of the world population today is vitamin D deficient. And there is no reason why we should not be taking this as a supplement, because it has been proven that vitamin D not only helps us with helping with our immunity, but also with anyone with pre-existing lung disease, pre-existing breathing issues, with arthritis issues, and anything that comes in with calcium absorption in the body, plus overall immunity. Vitamin D has been the most researched supplement so far, and we are not talking about it enough yet. So you see a lot of people talking about vitamin C, having a lot of lemons, having a lot of other things. But when it comes to vitamin D supplementation, that is something that has not been as famously or as well known as the vitamin C is. So first and foremost would be supplementing with vitamin D, but vitamin D supplementation, if done by ourselves, can lead to intoxication. So it is always recommended to check with your general physician before you take a supplementation of vitamin D, because otherwise vitamin D can also can intoxicate in the body, which we don't want to happen, which is not the case with vitamin C. So vitamin C is flushed out in the body if taken in excess. So we don't have to worry about an overdose of vitamin C. So vitamin C, if at all, instead of a 500 or 1,000 mg, you take a 1,500 mg, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to intoxicate you because the body has the capacity to flush it out. But coming to vitamin D, that does not happen. So if someone is already at good levels of vitamin D, they might not need a high dosage. But on an average, even as a normal person who is always indoors or just travels in cars and is in the office or home all day, for them about 1,000 international unit of vitamin D supplementation should be good enough. Nothing crazy is needed to be to be considered in that. But some people are really deficient. So in the UK and the US, they are given dosage of about 4,000 international units a day. And in the Europe, it has become mandatory that everyone takes a vitamin D supplementation. It is not for us because we live in a more tropical country, but over there, because they see sunlight less, so it's already mandated there. And for them, the unit usage is about 4,000 international units. We don't need that much. For us, about 1,000 international units per day should be good enough. And last but not the least, a lot of fruits and vegetables. Apart from everything that we eat, at least a consideration of about 400 grams of fruits and vegetables in combination. It could be any fruit that you like, any vegetable that you like. But this is what a researched number is. About 400 grams should be good enough for one person in a day. So this is a per day requirement, not a per meal requirement. So in the overall day, if you can get up to 400 grams, that is good enough, because all the vitamins and minerals and micro minerals and all the micronutrients, you get it through your fruits and vegetables. So there is no reason why you should not be taking them. Okay. Next, exercise. Exercise is a no-brainer. You all know that. You have to work out to make sure that you are staying active, your body is functioning the way it should, you're not becoming too lazy. And I know you guys have been doing a great job with that. So that's really amazing to know that, and it's good that we all are trying whatever way we can to get this out in people, to make them exercise, to make them active, and because that is a no-brainer, like I mentioned over there. You have to do it, and the more you work out, the more you can preserve your muscle, the more chances of growing some muscle mass, which will again help you with your overall body composition, and that will help you with your overall health. Most ignored thing is sleep, and that is why I put both of them in one slide. Is while we know that exercise is important, we tend to forget that how important sleep is. We don't give enough recovery. We sometimes are so overworked, and I thought that things will slow down because of the pandemic, but it seems like everyone is trying to do so many things these days, and especially in the online world, which is something new. Like everyone is trying to see for different ways of connecting with people, different ways of making an impact. So this is becoming a problem where the screen time has increased. The time we spend on our laptops, on our phones, or watching anything on the television, everything has increased, which indirectly is affecting our sleep. So sleep has become a big concern. So I would recommend, it is recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day, mandatory, because otherwise, no meditation you're taking, your body repairs itself when it sleeps. Your body is actually in its best performing state when it sleeps. So the recovery happens only when you sleep. Your metabolism is best when you sleep. The whatever immunity building tasks, the minerals and the vitamins that you take happens just sleep. So it is important that we make sure that we have enough sleep so that we are getting to all the functions that are for that. Here, it is not about just one thing. It is about both go hand in hand. Even if you ask me if I should prioritize between sleep and exercise, I think we should prioritize both equally. It is not that you are missing out on one to get on the other one. So we need to prioritize our entire day to make sure we are not only taking the required supplements, fruits, vegetables, but we are also sleeping enough while also staying active. So then there's that entire perfect balance that we can create. So last is drinking enough water and having enough fiber. So when I mention about the fruits and vegetables part over there, that is nothing but getting enough fiber. But what happens if you have just your fibers and you're working out so much and you're eating enough food and taking your vitamins and minerals but not having enough water? So that our body is basically water. 70% of the body, of the human body, is just pure water. So the more water we drink, the more hydrated we are, the more quickly the body will work towards what we're trying to do. Not focus on the basics, right? Because these things we have been told so many times, like stay hydrated, drink enough water, have enough fluids in the body to maintain your fluid balance, to make sure the electrolytes are balanced in the body. But that having at least 4 to 5 liters of water a day is something that will help.
Wow.
Yeah, so 4 liters is basic bare minimum. We tend, maybe sometimes it also happens that not even a liter of water is been taken. But considering 70% body is just water, we tend to ignore the fact of consuming more water. So depending on whatever stage someone is currently, definitely improving that stage to at least make sure they reach the 4 liter mark is something I would definitely recommend, while also having enough fiber, that is through fruits and vegetables. So, but just following all these things, like having, taking your supplements like C and D, having enough fruits and vegetables, getting good sleep, having enough water, and exercising are the major ways you can make sure you're taking care of your health during the pandemic. But one most important thing amongst everything else is also your protein intake. Even in the times of when people are affected by the COVID-19, so when they are tested positive for corona also, the doctors, the dietitians, the practitioners are giving them a protein-rich meal. So help the body, acid function in the body is much more than keeping you in with enough muscle and making you look aesthetic, right? There are a lot of other functions in terms of cell repairs, in terms of quickly repairing the body is causing to us. This happens with amino acid breakdown that happens in the body. So it is extremely important to try and have every a serving of protein in every meal. So could be eggs or cheese for breakfast, or chicken, fish, prawns, paneer, tofu, soya, pulses, legumes, dal, chane, chole, whatever, any type of protein, and also whey protein, pea protein, isolates, any type of protein. But trying and completing your protein requirement for the day will definitely help you, not only before, like a precaution, even if you know someone who's been affected by it, you can always recommend them a good hydrated diet, but not too high in fats because digestion becomes a little problem. But moderate fats, moderate carbs, a little higher protein is what we would recommend to them. So that is all I had. Staying motivated is something that we all should, that is all we can do, because there are so many, it's all negative out there. Whenever you look at the news, whenever you look at the numbers, everything is just driving everyone crazy. So whatever we can do to stay motivated is going to help us. And these are my social media handles. If you can want to connect with me over there, I'll be very happy to answer any questions you all have. And yes, now I would want to know if you all have any questions.
Can I ask one?
Yes, I'll just stop sharing. Yeah.
So we've been doing this training program, maybe a bit related to that. And in general, if everyone's training as well, usually everyone, what we hear is you should eat something like some carbs or good carbs 1 hour or half an hour before the workout. Could you give us some examples of actually what we should be following and what kind of food we should be eating, say 1 hour before the workout, if at all?
See, that is, are you asking when you're just training?
Yes, before training, before we go into training, sometimes we feel too fatigued during the exercise itself. So what kind of energy foods or something might help us?
So it totally depends on at what time of the day you're training. If you're training fasted first thing in the morning, and if you want to do a fasted training first thing in the morning, then having a coffee or something that is related to caffeine, if you are not intolerant to caffeine, like a lot of people have,
Okay.
who are intolerant to caffeine,
Yeah.
we can avoid the the caffeine part, and I mean they just have to do a non-caffeine based drink that will keep them just hydrated to get through the training phase, because they want to do it fasted. But a lot of people I know do not train very well when they are fasted. They don't have that energy to actually train well. So for them, just a mix of protein and carbs before the workout, or if they think that no, they can get through the workout, they can split the protein and carb intake, little before the workout and little after the workout. So pre and post workout, they can have a similar type of
Okay.
fruit would be a good split, or egg, some type of that is a complex type of protein, which is not just, you don't need a fast digesting or a slow digesting. Overall in the day, your muscle protein synthesis and the breakdown will in the overall frame of 24 hours. So that is not a thing that you really need to replenish your protein immediately after the workout. So in the course of 24 hours, if you meet your overall protein intake for the day, that should be still good enough.
Oh, so this idea about as soon as your workout is done, post-workout, within half an hour, 1 hour, have some protein based food or supplement is not actually that essential. It is okay to take it later as well.
It's good to take it. I'm not telling
Good to
it's not.
take it. Okay, it's good to take it.
What they do is they barely take just that 25 grams of
Yeah,
protein is the
true.
end for their day.
That's
Then
true.
what's the point in just taking it only in only post workout? It's good to take. There's no bad, like if you can split your protein throughout the day, it's the best. But if you're not considering your overall protein intake for the day, then just carrying the shake bottle after the workout or finishing up does not make a big.
So just leading on to that, is there a typical formula we have to how much protein a person should be taking based on their body weight, or male, female? Like, is there a generic kind of rule to follow?
So for
Sorry to interrupt, but even I had a similar question, because before COVID, when we were like working out in the gyms, we would also take a protein supplement along with our usual diet, in which we used to already have natural sources of protein. But now, since we're not working out as vigorously, we're mostly doing body weight workouts. So I'm refraining from having the protein supplement, and I'm only focusing on like the healthy natural proteins from like chicken or whatever, like basic protein rich food. So is that good, or should we still keep taking our protein supplement?
I'll tell you. So the first thing is, why do we take protein? It is to maintain the muscle mass that we have broken down during the workout, right? Even if we don't break it, just to maintain the muscle mass, our body needs a certain requirement of protein. That is, usually they say about 1.8 to 2 grams per kilogram of your body weight. But not
Okay.
everyone has so much. Like if I am an athlete and or I've been training or considering that I'm period of time, then yeah, I know my body weight is 50 kgs. No matter what, I will complete that. But what is happening now that we are not training as much as we would before, so the chances of losing muscle is already higher. And now, if we not take that, lose that muscle even further. So if you're not able to work out, that's okay, but don't stop taking the protein, is what I would recommend. That is what I have noticed. And never has this happened in the world, like since I heard the research I follow, that the gyms were closed for so many months. So this is going to be a new data that is going to come out after a few months when they do the analysis. But I look at the anatomy of the human body or the physiology of how things work, you really need proteins for your muscles to sustain. And because we are not training already, we are losing out on some amount of muscle mass because we are not training as enough. We're not doing those heavy squats that do. So even if we reduce the protein intake, then the chances of losing muscle becomes even more. So I would recommend having that amount of protein. Please continue to increase it about 20 to 30 grams.
I think Amy had a question.
I have actually two. One is related to what we're talking right now. But so, I like Fatima mentioned, we don't do anymore as heavy workouts as we used to do before with because
Weights.
of the situation. And what I feel that when I have, if I used to have my protein shakes every day in the morning, whether I was working out or not. But the day I did not work out, I felt I felt like I couldn't break it down through the day. Is it recommended that we have that kind of a supplement through the day when we're not working out, because of the fact that we're not doing that much rigorous workout,
So that
and actually use natural sources?
You were feeling heavy because you're not doing that taking the protein, but that does not mean the body does not require it. Your body does not tell you that this is I'm feeling uncomfortable because I'm not able to digest the protein right now.
Yeah.
So you actually don't know what is making, how one particular food item makes you feel. It's a combination that you eat. Like you cannot eat a pure source of, even after maybe just the whey protein isolate food, everything is a mixed meal. So you eat chicken with some fat that is used to cook it, or with some rice or some carbs. So you really don't know what. I think the overall activity sometimes makes you feel that way. So you might want to split having the protein shake, not only in the morning, have a half scoop in the morning, half scoop in the evening. So that will help you not feel that bloated or heavy.
Yeah.
But I don't recommend anyone to reduce their protein intake from what they were taking just because they're not training. To burning a certain amount of protein, even if their muscle breakdown is not happening, but at least we don't want to give another excuse for more muscle loss to happen. If someone was not taking that much protein, they certainly don't have to suddenly start taking 2 grams per kilo per kg of their body weight right now. But if someone was, then there is no reason why they should stop right now.
Yeah. The other question I had was, you mentioned about the different types of diets that people go on to, because now we have this phase where we don't work out or burn enough. And I have a couple of friends who sort of went on a really crash diet, which I could see that they did not look very healthy. They looked weak. But do you think that there is a certain kind of a diet that suits some people and doesn't suit? For example, a popular diet that people do is intermittent fasting, which I have tried, and it just never works for me, because it just makes me completely fit. Even if I am doing my regular workouts or eating my regular foods or whatever, it makes me very fatigued and I get a lot of acid reflux. So it's just not for me. But then I see benefits on other people. So is it like that every diet is not for every person? Is there something that, like, you should know, or we should know basically about our bodies, what kind of diet would suit us?
Yes,
when things go back to normal, guys, not right now.
Right now, or normally also, I think the only diet that we can do is something that suits us, like that we can sustain it. So if you're having a certain type of food today, and you should ask yourself, and eat this all throughout my life. If the answer is no, fix it.
Yeah.
So maybe intermittent fasting works. First of all, it's not a diet strategy. It is just, it's not a diet per se. It is more of a strategy to push your meals to just a shorter feeding window, so that you don't feel hungry all throughout the day, and you're trying to not overeat, and you're just eating it. Maybe you're just lunch and dinner and skipping breakfast, or you have breakfast and lunch and skip it. Reduce your feeding window, and you fast for the rest of the time. But for someone who has a gastrointestinal issue or acid refluxes, for them definitely that wouldn't work, because they really need to eat in a certain small time frames, and they cannot eat larger meals. So their gut will not support them eating larger meals. So even if they tell that, oh, I have read about intermittent fasting and I want to try, we would definitely know that, okay, they will not feel good by the end of the day. Some people do keto very well.
Yeah.
They can just nail it. But then again, those people only, because the body, the way we have been trained from child carbs into treat ourselves with foods that are carb rich, sugar rich, whenever we achieve something, is so high that when they see the results coming, they cannot resist themselves further to not eat those carb rich foods, and then everything becomes like a cycle. So they diet, they restrict so much that when they stop dieting, they again start binging, where there's no control in the binge, and then they binge, then this year suddenly realize that this is not happening, and they restrict so much. So instead of that, just trying to make it more sustainable and adding in foods as per the requirements for the body, and having everything in moderation keeps it more sustainable, is what I believe. But again, it totally depends on how a certain person responds to a certain diet.
Okay.
But sustainability, yeah.
I'm sorry. I wanted to ask something on similar grounds. So, me and a few friends have been following intermittent fasting for about 2 months now. A lot of people say that when you're intermittent fasting, it's okay to eat whatever that is there in that 1 hour of time that you take. Is it really okay to eat anything, or should we make rules for that also? And another thing I wanted to ask is, if I want to stop doing it, is there any certain way to transition out of it?
Yeah, I will tell you both. So first thing, the thing, I mean, if someone is in Pune, this doctor became very famous. I think his name is Dr. Dixit. He has so many YouTube videos. All the research that he claims, if you go and actually read that research, they are not even research. They are research that he wrote. There are publications that he made. So those research that he talks about is actually not even good enough as a research to consider. So the main reason why people do intermittent fasting again is because they want to control their appetite. Whenever they get on a diet, like when you go on a calorie restrictive diet, you cannot not eat as much as you were eating before. Like it's a big change for a sudden, for someone who's never dieted before, for them to start not eating as much as they were to feel full. It's a big challenge. So what they do is they just try to skip one meal and add those calories of that meal in the other 2 meals, so that they're having bigger meals and feeling full. They're like, at least 2 meals I'm getting where I'm feeling enough. So that was the main reason why intermittent fasting is at least suggested to a lot of people who have a big appetite. But the other claims of the insulin response with your intermittent fasting, when your insulin spikes and that is when fat gain happens, is there is no evidence, because your insulin does not insulin spike and the fat gain does not happen in a meal per meal basis. It happens over a course of weeks, months, years. You don't get fat when you eat one extra meal. You don't get fat when you eat 2 extra meals. If you get fat when you do that for months and years. Otherwise, if you think you're putting on 1 kg a day, then you would put 365 kgs in 1 year, which does not happen, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. It's not about one bad meal or one bad day that spoils your entire thing. It's your overall lifestyle that makes a big impact. Phasing out of intermittent fasting and not putting on weight, I would recommend you to not to just whatever you were eating in lunch and dinner, try to split that to breakfast, lunch, and dinner now, or at least you can write down whatever you were eating so that you have a log of your tracking, and then try to. I know tracking might be a little difficult for anyone who has never tracked before, but there are a lot of apps like MyFitnessPal and a lot of things. You just start logging in to see what you're eating in an average currently. Then you try to have it in different meals and slowly add in about 100 200 calories and get back to your maintenance. That's called reversing your diet. So it's reverse diet basically, but you can try that. Just don't start eating normal. You will put back all that weight that you've lost in 2 months.
So having ice cream once in a while is okay.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that for us, having ice cream once in a while is okay then.
What about a glass of wine a day?
That so a day again.
Red or white?
Yeah, it totally depends on if you can overall balance it out, if you're having a very active lifestyle and if you're having everything else, and you know that you're just going to stick to that one glass of wine or two. The main problem happens is when people lose control after they have alcohol and they start eating a lot of food that is that comes in as snacks with alcohol, right? Because those are also additional calories, and it's just so easy. So, but again,
I heard there's this theory about one glass of one small or one large, I don't know, drink of whiskey a day aids in weight loss.
no, that is skipping dinner and
It
just
does.
then maybe
It does.
I think you're just trying to find a loophole for yourself. Just stop.
Hey, I'm not talking about myself. Who said I'm having a drink every day? But I'm just asking for everyone.
I'm just
Okay, I'm
stop
not even-
There are a
myself.
lot more at home. So if you're gonna have a drink, then what should you have? Is it okay?
I think
And
you lose weight by having whiskey every day if you skip dinner and just have a glass of whiskey.
okay. No, I wish I can edit that part out. No, we don't want to promote that right now.
Calorie deficit. So there is that you will end up eating food.
Yeah.
though.
No, it is fair. Like we do feel very hungry after. If people have gone out drinking, then they want to,
They
have
want to
food as
eat
well.
and their body is craving for food. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a very basic question.
Oh.
Obviously, all of us are eating, we all eat meats, whether it's red or white. But lots of people are now giving up on red meat. And the only source of protein, as in you can say the heavy proteins, is from eggs or fish. But I mean, I can speak for myself, that's because it's like that's the only, because the other meats are not, I can't eat them or whatever, I don't like them or whatever it is. So what are the basic vegetarian foods that you can say have got a high protein, so that we can add that in some way or form in the week, in the day, so we get that
That's a good question.
the protein from natural sources.
So first of all, red meat is not the problem. The quantity of red meat consumption is the problem. Also, eaten in moderation is not going to, cause a very big. In fact, it's a very good source of vitamin D. But red meat, first of all, if you want, you can definitely add in a couple of hundred grams during the week. There's only problem with the weight in food, especially in the Indian food. If you look, the
Yeah.
it is always way where I mean, if you can make it like a normal steak type that the Western cultures have, just roast grill, that's perfectly fine. So red meat is not the problem. I think the amount of other things that into cooking the red meat becomes a problem here. So having that in moderation is okay. For vegetarian sources that are low fat, so usually paneer is a good source. Paneer and cheese are good sources, but they are high fat. So you will have to control the carbohydrates that you're eating with that. Otherwise, it will become a very huge calorie dense meal. The leaner sources would be tofu and soya chunks, granules, the mini soya chunks, the different soya chunks, and tofu would be. Then there are also a lot of
Dance.
other, sorry,
Pulses.
dals and pulses that can be had. Chole, chane, rajma.
Okay.
I think Vidisha had a question as well.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask if when it comes to meals like breakfast, lunch, like you're supposed to have dinner before 7 advisable, or
So it is good to have foods at the same time every day, but might not be that 7 p.m. would work for everyone. Okay, if you are having a certain pattern, just stick to that every day, so that you're not only training your body to not get hungry on unwanted times, and you're not ending up snacking otherwise. So whatever time suits you, just try to stick to that. That will help you better, because if you're used to having lunch at 1 o'clock and you have it at 4 o'clock, then you get so hungry that whatever you were otherwise eating, you end up eating more than that. Right, and then your dinner, you're not eating enough. So next morning you wake up hungry again. So then and then and that is a bigger problem that happens with your insulin response rather than the intermittent fasting that people say. The insulin spike, that the calorie intake becomes much more or much less, and the body's insulin response is too disturbed in that way. So having a timing, having discipline towards your food is definitely something that is recommended, but I don't think that you should follow someone else's timing.
No midnight snacking, that means.
Yeah.
I think Aida had a question. My mom had a question.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. You were a client at the Pune office.
Yes. I know that. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, I just wanted to know that I am very fond of nuts. Okay. So, is it good to have nuts?
See, even I like nuts. So I will have maybe a biased answer towards this.
Yeah.
I like to have a lot of variety in my food.
Yes.
So I am not a kind of person who will just eat chicken rice.
Correct.
I cannot do that. So maybe there will be weeks wherein I'm just having only 100 grams of chicken in the entire day, and I would make a very nice thick nut smoothie for myself. But because I'm going to add in whey protein, and I don't like the whey protein either, so I want to make it more.
I'm also not in for whey proteins.
Yeah, so I want to make it more,
Yeah.
tastier by adding nuts and by making it more crunchy, because I like nuts in general. And yeah, there is, again, nuts is not the problem. The quantity of nuts that are consumed, thinking that it's just so nutritious, and people
So
just keep.
on an average, how much do you think we should eat?
I would say not more than 200 calories should be given towards that, because it's very, otherwise your other all foods will get affected. Like you will get hungry. It is not going to keep you full, right? So so then the excess calories, about 20 to 25 grams a day should be given.
Fine.
So if you're not having it in excess.
So let's see, a glass of wine, some nuts and cheese is all good.
Yeah.
As long as you're...
That's
Okay.
nice.
What about dark chocolate? Sorry, Frida, you got.
Oh yeah, dark chocolate is kind of favorite for a lot of people.
No, I'll come to that, but you look for the question first.
Also some seeds, like these 7 seeds that we eat. Okay. So I always make a smoothie of the seeds and the nuts and my almond milk and a banana or a chiku or figs. So
Please
Yum.
add protein to it.
that I just want to know, is that taking away all my calories? Because of lately in this lockdown, I think I have gained weight.
Why don't you start tracking it one day and see how many calories you're eating? One day you just have to measure. You will know, right? You will have an idea. Then you can see if you can reduce the other carbohydrates or the other snacks that you're having throughout the day, or you want to make the smoothie a little lighter. Like maybe not all the seeds and nuts in one day. You can alternate then in that way. But just tracking it one day, you will have a better idea of your entire calorie intake for the day. Then you can make the moderations very easily, because it's better to make an informed decision, right? So I don't want you to eat less either. Like in the beginning of the program, there is no point going on a diet right now. We all need to eat enough to feel.
I don't diet. That's not me. But I eat healthy, whatever I eat. But I need to just understand whether these seeds and nuts are.
They are pretty good, but they are all high calories too.
Okay.
Everything in moderation.
Maybe you can share some of those yummy recipes with us too.
Oh no,
We'll
just
put it on
send
F-Fitness.
it to us. You just make a bulk and
Yeah.
send to the entire F Fitness group.
Yes, Amy. Anything for you.
Dark
Dark chocolate.
chocolate both have same calories. Okay, calories wise, both have similar calories. It's just a myth that milk chocolate has lesser calories than dark chocolate, but you don't need.
Sugar.
Yeah, even the sugar contains. You can just check Lindt 90 and a Cadbury milligrams is basic. But what I'm trying to tell is,
Wow.
for you
Okay.
to-
So we can eat. You mean to say we can eat dark chocolate?
you cannot eat
Just
that.
one piece.
That's why dark chocolate is preferred to eat that much. You will end up an entire slab of normal milk chocolate, but to finish an entire slab of dark chocolate, it's difficult.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, if that's no, then you have to measure. Just keep it to 50 calories, like just 10 to 20 grams a day, not more than that.
Okay.
Another question I had, sorry, I'm only the one who's asking lots of questions. So again, we all have, grown up with drinking milk as we were kids, and now we've got into this oat milk and almond milk and all the amazing looking stuff. But is it really to have milk? It's got a lot more calories and it's not very good for you as an adult. Like
proven that it is not good. Like whatever they're telling about that, the inflammation in the body is much more when consumed dairy. So that is not proven at all. So there is no research. And for vegetarians, dairy is a big source of protein even today. So we cannot start demonizing dairy yet, because there is no evidence that it causes. But yes, it definitely has calories, and it's very easy. It's just like liquid calories. You know, when they say juices, things that does not make you full, but contain calories, yes, it does. So almond milk is a better substitute for it, because 50 ml of almond milk is over 20 calories. 100 ml of milk is 60 calories. So that's a huge difference. And 100 ml is barely this much, like half. It is
Uh,
high,
uh,
but nothing bad. If you put into the diet, then yes.
Okay.
Aditya had a question. Do you want to ask? Unmute yourself and ask.
Okay, hi guys.
Hi.
So I have been doing this intermittent fasting thing since January now. So like 6-7 months now that I'm doing this. The first 2 months, like you suggested, I only took the time so that I can split the meals and eat regularly. And then I started micromanaging my content as well. Like actually looking at what I'm eating and how much I should be eating, the protein content and the fiber content and the fat content and the vitamin content, right?
Okay.
So that I have been doing for the past 4 months very carefully. Like I read a lot about it and I took this initiative myself. So now my question is that, and I have lost a lot of weight over the past 4 months, but now my question is, uh, will I have to do this for the rest of my life? Like, or is it okay if I comparatively loosen up a little bit, and it's okay if I don't keep that close of a watch on this? Like, because I have made sure that I've kept very close watch. So I just wanted to ask, is it okay if I loosen it up a little bit?
It is so Aditya, it is totally okay to loosen it up a little bit, and I think you should already start doing it now, because January till August, it's been a lot of months. So that the chances of someone who has been monitoring their diet to develop a bad food, and you don't want that to happen, wherein you're not having any control of food. When you see food, you don't know how to not restrict yourself, and that happens with extreme cases of track every single meal and not take breaks in between. That does happen. So a good way to phase out would be, now you must have an idea of how much you're eating, what you're eating, and
Right. So I've gradually let it go, but the thing is that 6 months now, it's become like I don't really eating anything. Like it's nothing like I
now, but
specific.
once that breaks, that is when the problem would come. Don't take it to that stage, is what I would recommend. So slowly phase it out. Get in a few food or few meals from outside in a month or so that you're not just even if you think you don't have interest, whatever you have developed for so many years does not go away that quickly. And this is with experience of working with so many clients and telling that when they get to eat normal food, they just have no control at that time. So if you
Right.
don't want that to happen, take maybe once in 2 weeks, once in a month, whatever is suited for you, but get back on track. Okay, it is not like you will do an all or nothing approach. Get back
Right.
on track whenever is needed. I mean, at most times, and take a break whenever needed. So if it's a celebration, you
Right.
should give yourself permission to go out there and enjoy that thing, and not, not be too picky about what you were doing. Otherwise, it's going to reverse everything that you've achieved very quickly, and you will not.
Correct. And is there any such eat before going to bed, like sometime, like half an hour or something? There's a lot of people that have told me that you're not supposed to eat something 2-3 hours before sleeping, and right after waking up also you're not
Mm.
supposed to eat.
It's
So is there something?
a very personal thing. Like some people have acid refluxes when they sleep, and that is why I think people tell that. But again, if you have already been in you know that these are the quantities and your body is digesting as well and feeling, then there's no problem. But usually the norm is, if you eat and drink so much water, there is no movement, right? So that feels a little more gastric and acidic inside. So you just give a few minutes or an hour before you go to bed to settle down, and then you can sleep. You sleep better also in that way, and your sleep is not impaired as well.
And like you already told, I think it was Faraz's question only. Since we are already, no, it was Amy's question. I think we are not working out as much as we used to. So like,
Protein.
I have never, I have never really taken protein as such, anyways. So like, it's right now you suggest that no external protein, anyways, right? Like that's a no-no for everyone who's not taken any external protein as of now, right?
No, but now that you've started tracking and you have been eating enough protein, I would think. It is,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
now think that the food sources are not enough to meet your protein requirement and you need something else to make sure you're reaching a protein, then you can supplement it with a protein drink,
Right.
or a protein shake or a whey protein. If you think the foods that you're eating is enough for your protein requirement, then
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, we have about 10 minutes left. Anyone has any more questions, then keep them coming.
Cheat day, myth or is it a reality?
Cheat day.
Actually have a cheat day every week.
no, I mean,
Not going crazy cheat day, like have hamburgers and I don't know what fries and stuff, but like not be conscious of what you're eating, ice cream, chocolate, whatever.
I think having maybe not a weekly one, it's just prioritizing your days when you want to not focus about, how many calories does this food have, and it's good to have such days. It's absolutely very nice to have days where you don't have to think about what has gone into this, right? But other days, not being mindful of what we are eating just because we have to take a cheat day is definitely, um, why would you do that? You're just slowing your progress even further. So there's no good until and unless you have a very strict, you should go eat that food item and get back on track. But wait till the end of the week, and on that day, I will eat everything that I want to. So that will be more.
So cheat days are not mandatory, right? Like it's not necessary to take one, right? Like a lot of people say it's basically for cycle purposes, right? It's nothing to do with your body needs it or your body gets used to the typical routine, so you need to spice it up a little bit or something like that.
No, I don't. That's the way to break plateaus, to break whatever they've been talking about. So
What I do is I cheat a little bit every day.
yeah, see that's also 80.
I can't help it. So
80% what we follow, like 80% of everything is tracked and perfect, and 20% is you are giving your body the permission to just not screw up every meal, but just a little bit of it.
yeah, like a major sweet tooth. A lot of people have a major sweet tooth. After a meal, they want something sweet.
Yeah.
So
I was just gonna ask something regarding that. So I have a big sweet tooth, and after every meal, I feel like eating something sweet. So I used to like this chia pudding that I used to make with mangoes, but now since mangoes are out, I don't really like having chia pudding with bananas or whatever. So I have like some cake or souffle or whatever's in my fridge, and that's not good to eat after every meal. So what can people do? Like, can I have like the protein mixed with yogurt or something like that after every meal to kind of calm my sweet tooth down, because I have a chocolate whey protein. So if
Yeah,
I mix that with a little bit of yogurt and have that, like,
if you're having 3 times a day, don't have the entire you cannot have it, that's fine. But from chia pudding to cake is a big no.
yeah. But I have like a really big sweet tooth, so I don't understand what to do about it. So sometimes what I like to do is I like to make some kind of food so that I have something sweet at least going on. Otherwise, I feel like,
Or you can have the soda type, like a lemon, a diet coke or a diet Pepsi or a lemon soda with sugar free gold. There's no aftertaste in it, very zero calories say about it, and it's also going to help.
I think you will just ask your mom not to have anything or
also
these
these
special
people,
desserts
not
in the
these people,
fridge.
me,
So
I make these date balls. So there's like date and a lot of nuts and a lot of seeds and everything with cocoa powder and stuff, but they're really high calorie. So is it good to have those because they are like a substitute to refined sugar, but then also they're very,
no good.
what is the,
The nutrient wise it is good.
yeah.
I'm not saying that. But if your goal is definitely have it. Okay. If your goal is to just it's good for hair, skin, it's good for your nails, it's good for everything. So it's not a direct substitute to sugar because sugar does not do anything to the body other than satisfying your taste buds. But these things, at least the nutrients part in it, to always constantly keep losing weight, you can definitely have.
I have a question. So, is bread really that bad? Like, as bad as Faraz makes it sound all the time.
What?
Yes.
No, I don't label foods as good or bad. I mean, that's just me because, again, like I personally don't like, I don't tolerate gluten as well. But 90% of my clients, if you give them bread in the breakfast, then they can do entire day, they'll do the diet. They will not even, rather, okay, giving them that 20% and enjoy eating so that rest of the day they don't do it. And if they're digesting it well and tolerating it well, and if they're, not having any issues.
Hey, by the way, just to clarify, I do like the bun maska pav from Irani cafe. It's just like
The best.
amazing. Yeah. So you can have it once in a while.
Maybe, I don't know, once a month, or maybe once in 2 months, 3 months. Because of the amount of butter they put to make it that good, it's crazy, but it's really very good. I don't know. Yeah.
Does your household roti also fall in the same category?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. Should we rather?
I refrain from
Sweet.
eating roti because of the same fact, but
Yeah, so even gluten, roti is gluten. So wheat is gluten and roti is made from wheat. So that is that. But again, I think it's all about how well you can digest it, how well your body can take it. If you see that there's a bloating, or if you're feeling heavy, or if you're constipated the next day, these are the signs that your body does not like the gluten that's there in the food. These are the common gluten intolerances. But if your body is able to digest well, then there is perfectly no problem. But the other non-gluten sources are your jawar, bajra, so bhakri and all that. That is again non-gluten, which can be made at home, safer and easier to.
another thing, question now, we are all sort of migrating from white rice to brown rice. So is there like a major change in the nutrition value, in what, like in the fat content or starch content or whatever?
So brown rice till date is the biggest mark, is what I would say, in the fitness industry.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow.
Exactly the same calories, 1 gram of extra fiber in brown rice when compared to white rice.
Only
But
1 gram.
why I think it's become that famous is you don't need to eat white rice. I mean, as much white rice you would with brown rice. So the same thing, you cannot overeat brown rice. I think that is why it's become more famous. But looking at the calories wise, absorption wise, the nutrient wise, everything is same. So if someone who is tracking, for them it's same. But someone who is not tracking,
Gone, it's frozen.
so that's why it's been more accepted in the society that I don't need to eat.
And even in the white rice category, obviously we have basmati, we have the other rice. So what? All are the same. There's no
Roti and rice, or your wheat and rice, the grain, the carbohydrate content is still the same. Ragi, jawar, bajra, everything has same type of millets, quinoa, same calories.
nothing like if you eat basmati every sort of.
Basmati is very easy to overeat. If you're making 50 grams of white rice, make 50 grams of basmati only. Don't make it 100 grams because
Right.
it's so fragrant.
Because it's so
very,
yum.
Yeah, it's so yum. It's very easy to overeat.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Even I wanted to ask something that I prefer to eat rice than roti, but my mother keeps telling me that you need to eat roti. So, but now since you said that they both have the same calories and the same nutrients, is there no issue in like eating rice instead of roti, or is it important to have roti and rice?
No, I would rather say that. See, if you like rice, and if you're someone who can, but again, if you're eating roti and you're eating just two, and if you're eating rice, you're eating a lot, that would be a concern to your mom as well. But if you're not doing that, you're being mindful of your portions, then rice. And in fact, rice is easily digested because it has no gluten. So, with a little.
Also, our Indian cooking, we've got a lot of spices in our cooking.
Spices are no problem at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Okay, so I like to make with a lot of coconut, and obviously coconut is high calorie again. So is it good?
Again, if your goal is to lose weight, then it is not
No,
good.
I don't want to lose weight.
But
I just want
the problem with the problem with is not with all the things that you see happening is because of all calorie intake. So it is not about one coconut gravy that is going to make the change, but the coconut gravy plus the nut smoothie plus the rice plus the chocolate plus the snacks. This is going to make the bigger impact.
Hey Farida, when are you inviting us for a meal?
Coconut gravy, right? Yeah.
Sounds like a lot
I
of
think
nice
I
dishes
think
are
we
being
have a
made there.
Thai cuisine party coming up soon.
whenever, as soon as you come, Amy, and Faraz, you're always welcome. You know
You
that.
come and cook for me.
I'm
here.
coming soon. I'm coming soon.
You send me a chartered flight, I'll come.
Amy is in Dubai, so
I know. That's why I'm saying, nah.
that's for everyone. Yeah. Okay. I think we are like we're just over an hour. And do you have any anyone else any other questions? Last one. Anything? No, it's fine. Trina, would you like to have like a closing statement for us? And
I will thank you everyone for nice session, value, and I hope I was able to at least here and there. But yeah, thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
great.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
This whole thing about dark chocolate has made me so happy because Faraz could binge on dark chocolate and saying, I'm just having a piece of dark chocolate every day doesn't harm me. So yeah, thank you so much. That was like really.
I just
Sorry.
eat what I like. That's it. So
Okay. Thank you so much for coming.
thank you so much, Trina.
Yeah, bye everyone.
It was great
Bye.
talking to you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.